Okay, let's see if this audio will be okay enough this time. This time around, I felt joy when I entered the forest, and I just wanted to share some of that joy. It's both joy and more grounded, and my mind went to the excitement of reading Ryan Dunn's Spiritual Exercises for a Secular Age, where where I'm at in the book is talking about metaphysics. I think I'm going to shift my view to the forest. It's more appropriate and more comfortable for me, and it's not very interesting to see a close-up of my face all the time. I'd rather show you this autumn forest. There are some people down there. Hopefully the audio won't be too bad. I'm not gonna, because it's raining and I'm not exposing the external microphone to the rain. So yeah, Ryan Dunn is currently in my reading talking about and with people who have different positions in their thinking about metaphysics. And not being a scholar and having any form of philosophical degree in my backpack, but I do have, I think it's fair to say that I've absorbed quite extensively of John Vervaeke's series that's called Awakening from the Meaning Crisis. So it's quite, sometimes it's really hard to follow the more scholarly distinctions that Duns is laying out, but in return you get I feel like I'm getting a little grip on it, because what he's doing is not opposing different positions in metaphysics with Heidegger, but he's kind of showing, in my understanding, he's kind of showing these different positions in a way that that's not opposing anything, but he's kind of companioning with the reader and with these different people who have their positions and their systems And this is after he has talked with or used a true line by talking about the works of Charles Taylor, and how he talks about modernity and what was lost. And there's a concept or an idea that I'm really grappling with all the time when it shows up, is the idea or the way of thinking that's called ontotheology. And I'm not sure if I quite understand it yet, but there's a sense that I'm not sure at all if I have gripped it, but what I think he's talking about in this notion of ontotheology is that this concept or this way of thinking showed up intertwined with modernity, and that God is in the system, like it's a part of. It's kind of a entity that that can be systematized in a way. And that doesn't place God in a position that is that is beyond our conceptual way of thinking about things and systems. So either if we systematize and structure everything with our minds, there's no space for mystery and the strangeness of our existence. And of course this is very, if we use that kind of thinking and see how our way of dealing, or not dealing, but the way we have structured our modernity in that kind of cognitive framing, that if we just figure out all the pieces and parts, then we can optimize stuff or something. And of course that's useful. We have to be able to function in a functional way, but there's a degree where this way of systematizing and optimizing and trying to control our reality in different ways, there will be unexpected corners that we're not ready for if we come from it with our cognitive machinery. And so it's like, notice I want to find a metaphor that I can use to maybe talk about this. It's yeah, I'm breathing heavily, walking up hills in this beautiful forest. Yeah, and how we navigate comes to mind, because that's what I'm trying to do right now in a very physical way. I almost slipped. Such an irony to walk and talk, and reality shows up slippery sometimes. Yes, I think that's saying a lot about relating to reality. It can be a slippery slope and uphills at times. And he actually uses that metaphor of entering the forest in a way of not, as he's saying, not in a disengaged looking at the forest, but actually entering it and not knowing what will show up as the pilgrimage continues into it, and having encounterings with beings that you have that you can't foresee in any way. I think I've been here before at this point, but yeah, I have with a friend of mine for some years ago. Wow, look at this view. It's quite a good view, to say the least. It's very foggy. So this is a good viewpoint to look at the city where I'm currently living in. This is the harbor down there. It's very it doesn't give me a clear view of it. Yeah, there's better. So there's the harbor, and yeah, and the fjord, or the ocean. It's not the fjord. It continues outwardly. It's not easy to capture with this phone. Okay, so yeah, this is a nice place. So yeah, as you enter the forest, all the options that our modernity has created for us becomes clear, that it's a vast amount of different traditions and different kind of spirituality and different kind of philosophy, and there's so much available in our global society, and the way that we can have different destinations. So, going back to the different positions of metaphysics, that is out of fashion after Heidegger. So, but at the same time, Heidegger talked about phenomenology and the everydayness of our reality, not as an abstract idea, but coming to terms with the concreteness and the revealing of what's actually there in the moment, as a kind of, I would frame it as a kind of mindfulness, but not as a isolated practice, but more a broader sense of there-ness. Like we are actually there in our physical reality. So that's what after a long line of metaphysics, Heidegger kind of brought us back to the everyday sense of what we're with, and the presence of that. So, and after that, there, from my little understanding of what I'm reading in about metaphysics via Ryan Dunn's book Spiritual Exercises, he's showing these positions from different thinkers that after talking about modernity and the coral as a metaphor, that we have kind of been captured by modernity, and that's limiting our humanness in a deep way, because we're governed by time and technology and all the critical
lap 4 2004
all the critical things that the scientific revolution and Descartes' severing of our mind and body created for us. But I'm not saying this to not... We are very fortunate because we have abundances of material goods, but there's something about science that, especially the kind of science that reduces everything into atoms and further down. Knowing this can also can be a problem, because we can't, if you talk about meaning in life in a deep way, it's about feeling connected to the world and to others and to yourself, and knowing that we exist of atoms. It's very easy to say that everything is just atoms, and so there's no innate meaning in anything. And that can create a vast amount of symptomologies, like inertia and a sense of a longing to something else that makes sense and makes meaning, and that's can generate that felt sense in our existence and in our lives and everything. So, but I leaped off when I talked about the how, like, the what kind of he's talking about different positions through and what he called the ad hominem way. So he's kind of personifying. Not sure if I get this idea of ad hominem correctly, but it's a way, I think, is a way of being spacious and kind of, I would say holding people that have different positions accountable for their position. So this is a way, I think, to avoid the abstract idea war, in a way that is not a defensiveness. The how he kind of participate with these different positions and the people that have these different positions is a very generous way. It's not like, I'm right and you're wrong because you have a different position. It's like, okay, come and invite me, or let's invite you into a conversation where I can kind of get a better grip of your position. And so when he does this ad hominem dialogue, he's kind of inviting people or these philosophers and their position and not kind of pushing them down. He's being very generous and in the way he dialogue with them. And so I would say it's a very, I think why he does this, in my understanding, is that he avoids this abstract distinctions that is becoming that is not only propositional, but he also talks about the people, or is relating to them as people, as persons, as individuals that have taken a certain position in their thinking about metaphysics. I think, I'm not sure if this is that I've got, that my thinking is kind of clear enough about this, but hopefully it will become clearer. But I want to talk about where am I? Yeah, the irony. Um, so this is his why he's talking about his positions in metaphysics, where people take a certain stance that the current one is I don't remember his name, Withall or something, Myrtle. I'm not sure what its name is. Should be able to remember, but I don't. His position is that is about hermeneutical. No, yeah, it is hermeneutical phenomenology as a way to practice, as a practice, and that's kind of as a way that this is everything that we can accomplish by reading or writing, and that we can like in a performative way sometimes also, that we can perform, that we can cultivate the sense of vertical alignment by practicing this as a form of writing or reading or art or whatever where our interest is. But so hermeneutics is a way we can interpret our things, and phenomenology is our lived experience. So why he's doing that is the question, and I haven't read the whole book. I'm just like 20% into it, something according to my Kindle device, and I'm taking good time because this is not easy. It's not easy to grapple with this, but when the scholarly distinctions and the whole history of philosophy is kind of that would be really good to know more about. It will be easier for me to orient in reading this, but yeah, I was talking about where was I going? Why again is he doing this elaboration of positions in metaphysics? It is to slowly to position the work and of Willam Desmond. Yeah, that's what it's doing, and I can see that that's of course important, especially when you're gonna introduce somebody who's is known as an original metaphysician. that, oh god, the sound. Okay, I think this area will be less trafficked, so I'm gonna continue for a little while, not for a long time. I'm already half an hour in, and, but yeah. So why is elaborating of the different people who have different positions in the area or domain of metaphysics? He is doing this because he's gonna introduce the way Willam Desmond in his original metaphysics is doing. How he, according to the little things I know about this, is an open-ended way is a system that allows for openness and not a closed off encapsulated system. So and why is this point important? Is a way to go back to modernity and our thinking and how we have structured our society. We are, because of our drivenness and our will and things, the materials and the stuff that we are then can start to possess us in a profound way, that like only if I get this, only if I have this, and only if I get to this part, only if I get like on vacation I will enjoy life.
1609.
And of course, if we always want to have different things that or be a certain way, then currently that we in the moment is experiencing, there will always be a sense of lack, that we're lacking something if we can't accept what's going on in the situation we find ourselves in, and the inner life and the outer that can be the same sometimes, but so if we think there's something lacking in relating to our current ever-changing reality, it has to it has to be something we have to fix. and something we have to achieve in order to get what we want in the situation on any level that we find ourselves in. But it can also there is there's a certain way that modernity has structured our thinking that's very left brain way of relating to anything. And whatever our thinking is shifting from a more spacious and not categorized ordered language or thinking, we might delude ourselves and thinking that there's something wrong with us. Because there has to be, if we don't allow the novelty in our experiences, because I'm getting off track. I'm being very distracted. This was I couldn't follow my thinking. Didn't track well right now. I keep getting distracted by all this noise of the cars. I think I'm gonna end it here actually, because so far I've not yet stepped into the reading of Willam Desmond's propositional. And when I say propositional is partly true, of course. There is words and concept or terms he's using, but it's not according to people I've listened to who have talked about the works of Desmond. It's not abstract it's not an abstract metaphysical position that that's not applicable to everyday life. But there's a way of forming a position, a way of seeing, or shaping a way of seeing, where in a very engaged way it's not a fixed position. And by that, he's also accounting for the dynamic dimension of situations and the how everything is flowing, and this is also overlapping with Eastern thinking, and that everything is always changing, and how to live in a reality that's ever changing, I think is very wise to obtain a way of seeing and listening that can account for the dynamic nature of reality, so we can more have a more and more optimal grip, and not only relate to ourselves and others and the world as merely controllable objects, so I'm looking forward to dive deeper into to the open-ended, poetic, beautiful understanding that is created by Willam Desmond. And not singularly created by him, but he draws from all the thinkers like Plato. I talked about the metaxological, and Willam Desmond is a metaxological philosophy, and he's also draws from Hegel and Heidegger, and yeah. So he's part of a tradition of thinkers, and also a very original thinker that is also like, yeah, there's something here, but there's always more, but so there's a sense of moreness that I'm leaving with after this attempt to talk about stuff that interests me. And here is the alleyway to a very beautiful graveyard and church up in the hill there. Yeah, so thank you for walking with me, and I hope this will find you in a relationship to reality that is affording you wellness and curiosity and wonder and just being okay with being you right now.